I hope you like naked ghosts, bloody tampons, and one-dimensional useless characters, because we watched Blood Night, The Legend of Mary Hatchet. We watched it so you don't have to, so you know what time it is.
Horror, so bad it's scary. Splitting up is never okay. Plot, who needs it? Don't turn on the lights. Cars don't ever start, but that's alright. Running upstairs instead of out the door. Good acting, what do we need that for? Horrible horror, so bad it's scary. Enjoy the show, but not really.
What's up, Moon Goons? Welcome to the Horrible Horror Podcast, the podcast where we watch the worst of the worst in horror movies. I'm your host, Mr. Marshall Hampton. Join me, as always, is my buddy, my co-host, Mr. Aaron Southworth. Aaron, how are you doing today, or tonight, this evening, whatever you want to call it?
It is this evening. I'm doing pretty good, man. It's, I don't know, what, month 89 of COVID, pandemic, isolation, all that great stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of that, that's why we were gone. We had a little bit of a hiatus here. Kind of last time you saw us was pretty much right around Halloween. I think the last episode we did was Jacko, and then we were supposed to do the Halloween episode, which was going to be Halloween 5, but we had a little.
And it was supposed to be in studio. I was so excited. We had Coffee Doug lined up. Everyone was on board. We were going to do Halloween 5, ready to go, and then
I caught the COVID.
Marshall got the Rona.
I did. I got sick. My got it because my girl, she got it from work because people at her work weren't wearing their goddamn motherfucking masks. And
motherfucking mask.
I got it. My daughter got it. All of us had it. Like, luckily my parents didn't. We isolated. We quarantined. Hit us hard, but we're doing okay now. And that's why we were gone for a while. Because I just felt like shit, and I just couldn't deal with it. I just was unable to record at the time. So that's where we were, guys. I know some people on Twitter and some people were wondering where we're at and why things got delayed. That's what happened. The COVID got us, and just shit happened. Please, fuckers, wear your goddamn mask out there. This shit's real, man. It's fucking real.
Yeah. So overall, how are you feeling still? I know I've been keeping in contact with you, but for the Moon Goons at home, how are you feeling, man?
Overall, I'm okay. I still have some up and downs. I still feel tired a lot and get a lot of headaches, but I don't know if that's necessarily due to Corona or COVID or not, or that's just because I've been having headaches ever since my the old brain surgery, the old tumor.
Yeah.
So it could be related to that and not COVID, but those have been bothering me a lot lately. So
yeah, the COVID hangover is a real thing. They say it's the headaches are common, fatigue is common, just shortness of breath, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
but it's nice to have you back doing the podcast, man.
Yeah, I needed to get back, man. It feels like it's been way too long. I feel like I got to get that ring rust off. I feel a little rusty.
You got to take some reps.
Again.
Yeah.
So hopefully this episode won't be too rough.
Yeah, since we were on break too, I figured, you know what? God damn it, I'm going to take a break too. Since Marshall's sick and laid up, I'm just going to take a little bit of time. I haven't posted shit on social media. I know social media is important to the podcast. I know it's good to keep in contact with people. But fuck, man, it's exhausting. So I'm just like, you know what? We're down. We're out. I'm just going to just lay low until Marshall's ready to come back. And now you're back. So I'll pick up back on Instagram and the Facebook and get that going again.
Yeah, hopefully we're back for good because we have pretty much this is supposed to be normally our busy. We got through Halloween for the most part, October pretty well.
Right.
But we know we're going right into our Christmas horror movie month of Christmas.
My favorite time of year.
I know it's your favorite time of year. So this is always been a fun time with the Christmas horror movies. We got those coming up right around the corner. So
yeah, we already have a Christmas tree up.
God damn you, Jesus Christ!
Well, don't worry, we're gonna get the second one. The second one's gonna be a real one.
Fucking, you get two? You don't need two Christmas trees, motherfucker. You don't use them.
Yeah, one upstairs, one downstairs.
Oh, God damn it. Anyway, that's not why people are here. They want to hear us talk about that. They are here for the shitty movie, and we got a doozy. Well, maybe not so much a doozy, but we got one anyway.
Yeah.
Blood Night, Legend of Mary Hatchet. This thing was released on October 10th of 2009. It's written by Elke Blasey. I don't know how to spell that name. It's
Elke. Is there any
like
it just made me think of Balky Batakamoose all of a sudden.
It's spelled. The first name is Elke, so Elke if the E's pronounced. I don't know. And then the last name is Blasi, so Blase, who fucking knows?
Blase.
And
Blase.
Yeah, and Frank Sabatella, and it's also directed by Frank Sabatella. Now Frank Sabatella, he's directed and produced a few other horror films, such as Night of the Pumpkin, The House That Cried Blood, Children of the Witch, and The Shed are all some other horror movies he's directed. You can find this movie right now on Amazon. Unfortunately, it's not a freebie. It's a rental or a purchase.
You have to pay for this piece of shit.
Yeah, you got to pay for this one. The cast, there's only 3 people I'm going to mention right now. We start with Lainey. Character Lainey is played by Samantha Hahn. She's got 12 credits to her name, including Night of the Pumpkin, which I just mentioned, Return to Sleepaway Camp, and Bloody Slumber Party, or other horror movies she's been in. And then
Return to Sleepaway Camp. Is that in the canon? Is that like
I'm not
4?
sure if that's I don't remember if that's canon or not, or if it's like where that picks up, or if it's like I've seen it. I just don't remember much about it. I don't remember if it picked up after the events of like number 1 or number 2, and then kind of forgot the other ones, or if it's just a straight up.
Does it have Angela in it?
I don't think so, but again, it's been years since I've seen it, so I don't remember. Don't quote me on that. I could be wrong. And then we have 2 horror icons in this movie. We have Graveyard Gus, played by Mr. Bill Moseley, and Alyssa, played by one of my favorites, the always wonderful and beautiful Danielle Harris is in this movie as well.
Danielle Harris, yeah. I've got to I got to take a moment here to talk about Danielle Harris. I previously, in one of our earlier episodes with Danielle Harris in the movie, I said something to the effect of, I just don't get it. I don't get the Danielle Harris love. And in retrospect, I want to take that back. Because when I rewatched Halloween 4 and 5, as a child actress, she just fucking nailed it.
Yep.
And then she stuck with horror pretty much throughout her entire career. I mean, she did Don't Tell the Babysitters. Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead.
I was about to bring that. Yeah, don't. And she was also in, I believe, The Last Boy Scout with Bruce Willis and was it the Wayans? Damon Wayans. Yeah.
But overall, she's stuck with horror. You know, I mean, horror movies, mostly the B-level stuff too. She might have a few bright spots here and there, but after rewatching Halloween, I was like, you know what, man, I kind of stuck my foot in my mouth. Danielle Harris is awesome.
Well, that's, I'm proud of you. I respect your. That's nice to see you come around and admit your mistake there, or your whatever. But yeah, so I think
it goes too harsh a judgment.
Now both Bill Moseley and Danielle Harris have been on. We've been featured on this show many times. We actually had one of our Moon Goons, longtime listener, ask if mentioned that maybe these two should be considered for our Hall of Fame. And you know what? I've thought about it many times, but at the same time, our Hall of Fame was kind of like Danielle Harris and Bill Moseley would be like a good regular horror Hall of Fame, along like Kane Hodder, Robert Englund, Wes Craven. They're on like the horror Hall of Fame, the big way ones. Our horror Hall of Fame is kind of like not necessarily like the good horror. We put like the kind of the crappy people, like no offense to like people like Julian or other Hall of Fame inductees, but they're the big names, like
BC level,
BC level people that aren't necessarily going to be. So I don't know if Danielle Harris and Bill Moseley will ever actually be inducted into our Hall of Fame, because they should and probably be in the normal Hall of Fame. If they aren't already, they're probably they will be, and they should be if there is an actual horror Hall of Fame. So just want to clear that up. I'm not saying it's never going to happen. It's just doubtful, and not because we don't love them, because I do love them. They're basically above what we do. they already have the renown and the credit, and so it just doesn't not for what our horrible Hall of Fame is. Even though they have been featured on the show many times, probably more, almost as much as most of our Hall of Famers have been. But so there's. I just want to clear that up. So that's really all I'm going to talk about before we get into the movie itself. Now, some of this movie, I will admit, I trying to get back in the flow of things and still recovering from everything. So many notes. There's some things I'm skimming over in this movie, and I'm trying to streamline this a little bit better, so we're not dragging it out too long. And there's a lot of downtime in this movie, so there's some things I am going to skip over or breeze over pretty briefly. Keep that in mind. With that, let's jump in. The movie itself, we open in Long Island, New York, back in 1978, as a young Mary, as a child, is in her bedroom, sitting on the floor in front of her mirror, or sitting in front of her, not on the floor, sitting in front of her mirror as a thunderstorm rages outside. She's brushing her hair. Her mom comes in, takes over, and starts brushing Mary's hair for her for a bit. She smiles at Mary and just leaves. So it's kind of awkward, a little creepy, but she's like, okay. And then Mary just continues to stare into the mirror, like just a blank void, just staring off into the mirror. Later that night, loud crashing sound wakes up the mom from her sleep. She gets up to check it out, finding blood in the hallway that leads her to the bathroom. She opens the bathroom.
Everywhere. Blood everywhere.
Yeah. She opens the bathroom door, and it looks like a fucking slaughterhouse in there. Like, it's covered in blood. So she rushes to Mary's room and finds Mary standing in her bedroom, covered in blood, holding a large pair of scissors and blood just all over the room. There's a very fast close-up shot of Mary's crotch, and we see like her nightgown is bleeding like in the crotchal area. And then there's the mom grabs Mary, who's still like staring into the mirror at this point, and like where she spins around, she's panicking. She's like, "What happened, Mary? Are you okay? What's going on? What's happening?" At this point, Mary raises the scissors and kills her mother by stabbing her in her soft, wet eye hole. And more blood just sprays everywhere.
Dude, the blood, this movie does really go gusto with the blood. I got to give him credit there.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely going to comment on that more later, but yeah, we'll get that out of the way. We cut to Mary now, armed with a hatchet. She enters her parents' bedroom where her father is somehow still asleep. And even though there's this giant thunderstorm, like vases or some stuff breaking, the mom screaming, "What's the matter? Gets stabbed in the eye, screams even louder, but the dad just like sleeps through all of it. However,
just another Wednesday night.
He sleeps through all that, but then he wakes up just on a whim as Mary stands over him, completely silent. Doesn't do anything, just completely silent. But that's when he wakes up, just in time to see Mary slash him across the face with a hatchet, killing him, sending more blood. Pretty good effect. Sends blood and teeth flying. Then it turns out we see the mother's not actually dead because she's crawling down the stairs, crying and in pain. So she's crawling down the stairs and she makes her way to this like a telephone, like this old telephone that's sitting on like a little end table, and she gets the phone and she starts dialing for help. But before she gets 911, the operator's there. But before the mom can say anything, Mary comes up behind her and just buries the hatchet right in the back of the mother's skull, just killing her. She's gone. She's dead.
And again, pretty good effects.
Yeah, not bad. Like so far, like I'm in. Like I'm drawn in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, all right, I got my attention. So now we jump to the Kings Park Psychiatric Center in Kings Park, New York, in 1989. So 11 years have passed. Sitting naked on the floor in her cell is a now grown-up Mary. In comes the fat, pervy night guard who, just fucking rapes Mary. It's just no way to sugarcoat. It's just pretty brutal rape scene.
It's pretty disturbing. And this is where he kind of lost me. It's like I don't like this kind of stuff. And the way he's behaving, he's like, "Oh, you want to give Daddy a lollipop? You want to lick Daddy's lollipop?" And he's like this really fat dude, like grabbing his crotch, and then it's it's a disturbing rape scene. It's really ugly, and I'm like, man, you're losing me.
Yeah. I at this point, I'm not out yet. I'm still like, okay, whatever. It's disturbing. He rapes her, and then we jump 9 months from then, and Mary is sitting on her cell floor, pregnant now, 9 months pregnant. We jump right to her in labor, screaming. She's being pinned down, restrained by a team of nurses and doctors. They sedate her. When she wakes up, she hears the doctors staying over behind her to basically tell her that the child died during birth.
Did not survive the delivery.
Yeah. A big storm rolls in, and we go to like the nurse at the nurse's station or a counter somewhere, and Mary just boop, pops right up out of nowhere. She's just there, and she startles the nurse. And the nurse is like, all right, Mary, hey, let me get you back to your room. What are you doing? Let's go back. She's very nice, very friendly. But as fast as a flash of fucking lightning, Mary just reaches out and snaps the nurse's neck, killing her. And I'm not talking about like a simple neck snap, just like quick, doop, you're dead. No, Mary somehow suddenly has like Jason Voorhees strength, and not just snaps her neck, but completely twists the nurse's head like 180 degrees around. Like her head is now, like her face is now behind her.
On her back, yeah.
Her back. And it's just, and you see like this like bunched up like neck skin, it's all bubble. It's like, what the fuck?
When I saw that, I'm like, oh shit, okay. I'm back in.
And then Mary goes on just this mass murder spree, killing every orderly, nurse, and doctor she comes across. And this is all...
It's all like,
rapid fire montage.
Yeah, and like splashes of red. And somehow during this process, she loses her clothes. Again, she's naked.
Yeah, she's naked.
So because when she killed the nurse, she has like scrubs on.
I don't know which, or her gown, or hospital gown, or something like that. Yeah,
right. But during the killing spree, poof, clothes are gone.
Yep. So Mary ends up outside, naked, covered in blood. The police have arrived, and they see Mary walking towards them, carrying someone's decapitated head, like just strategically placed right in front of her vag. And they order her to stop and raise her hands. Mary stops, stares at them, screams, and then just throws the severed head at the cop car, smashing the windshield. The cops, I guess, take it as a sign of aggression, obviously, and then just open fire and just shoot the shit out of Mary. And the killing shot hits her dead center in the forehead. She falls to the wet concrete, dead.
There could be a blood-borne pathogen in that head, Marshall, and it could cause an infection, which could cause death. Ergo, they were using deadly force, so the police had to respond in kind.
Okay. All right.
That's how I'd explain it in court, man. I don't
Maybe,
know.
but you think like, you throw a severed head, you're kind of out of ammo. It's like a one... I mean, she's got nothing left. She's not a threat anymore. There's kind of no need to shoot her.
It's pretty ridiculous that they just blow her the fuck away.
Yeah.
When she's just like, 100-pound naked woman.
Basically, at this point, all they know is she destroyed police property or government property. She didn't harm anybody. She didn't throw the head at the cops. She threw it at the car. So yeah, they had really no reason at this point to shoot her and just open fire on her. But anyway, we roll the opening credits at this point.
And it's the first 10, 12 minutes of the movie.
Dude, it's like 15, 16 minutes of the movie. Yeah.
There's so little dialogue during that time.
Very little.
I can sum up the 15 minutes as, ah! There's so much screaming. So much over-the-top screaming and, like, crazy scenery, but no dialogue. Yeah. Very, very little dialogue. It's kind of... It was cool to watch, but at the same time, not boring, but just hard to watch because it's 15 minutes of just scenery without much. It was a weird intro.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that. So
I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah, I'll tell you how I feel. I felt like at this point I was sold on. Like, I'm in. This was a solid opening. It was intense, a lot of kills, gore. Fast paced, like, okay, I'm in right now. Like, it's got my attention. I'm good. But as the credits roll, we get lots of quick flashbacks of Mary killing her parents and various others, along with old newspaper clippings. That old trope of here's all the newspaper clippings, blah blah blah. And one focuses on the fact that Mary was 12 years old at the time. At this point, I'm paying attention. I get confused with newspaper clippings. I'm not sure if the writers are trying to do something with this or if they just got really lazy. Because the very first article we see, if you pause and read it, it talks about Lizzie Borden. And Lizzie Borden murder is back in the late 1800s. And then we see with the headline that reads, "Court finds Mary Hatchet unfit to stand trial." But if you read the body of the article, you'll notice something a little fishy about it. And it says on the evening of August 4th, 1985, but then after that, it goes into the exact same article as the first one word for word talking about the Lizzie Borden murder. So they just cut and pasted the entire fucking article from the first one into this one, word for word. And as a matter of fact, after that, every single newspaper clipping that you see, if you take time to read it, is the exact same body of dialogue or text talking about the Lizzie Borden murders back in the 1800s. And never once, it's not like Mary's last name isn't Borden. She's not Lizzie Borden. I don't know why they did this, but it's the laziest thing and it doesn't even take place in the 1800s. They didn't update the dates or anything. It's the laziest fucking shit.
And that's why I love you, baby. I love how you these are flashes of articles that might be on the screen for maybe 3 seconds max. And you're pausing it and parsing through their bullshit.
Yeah.
It's still calling them out. Oh, man.
Yeah, because if you're going to flash newspaper articles up on a screen, you better be prepared for people like me who are going to pause and want to and read this shit to see if it has to do with the story. Because maybe you get some background information on this character or something.
Oh,
Otherwise, you better, filmmakers, you better be prepared if you're going to put that shit, making some original shit to put up there. Don't just copy and paste the same goddamn article that has nothing to do with your current story about Lizzie Borden. It's just lazy. So anyway,
man, I thought you'd have maybe a little misstep here and there since COVID, but dude, you're fucking on it.
After newspaper articles, we get various doctor reports now. So now we go from newspaper to patient files basically on her mental condition and that her violent tendencies are heightened during her menstrual cycle. Really? So basically our killer just suffers from bad PMS. The official term they use is menstrual dysphoric disorder. So of course I had to look this up. And I
know you would.
And this brings us to our educational moment. According to the Johns Hopkins School of Medicine website, menstrual dysphoric disorder is not a real thing. However, there is a premenstrual dysphoric disorder, aka PMDD. Now, what's that, you might ask? PMDD, or premenstrual dysphoric disorder, is a much more severe form of premenstrual syndrome, or PMS. It may affect women of childbearing age. It's a severe and chronic medical condition that needs attention and treatment. Lifestyle changes and sometimes medicines can help manage the symptoms. The exact cause of PMDD is not known. Now, get ready for this shit. Symptoms of PMDD. Psychological symptoms include, sit back guys, I went deep here. Irritability, nervousness, lack of control, agitation, anger, insomnia, difficulty in concentration, depression, severe fatigue, anxiety, confusion, forgetfulness, poor self-image, paranormal, emotional sensitivity, crying spells, and moodiness. Then there's fluid retention, swelling in ankles, feet, and hands, breast fullness and pain. Respiratory problems as well. Gastrointestinal symptoms include abdominal cramps, bloating, constipation, nausea, vomiting, pelvic heaviness, and pressure backaches. Skin problems, acne, inflammation, itching, neurologic and vascular symptoms include headaches, dizziness, fainting, numbness, tingling, or heightened sensitivity of arms and or legs, heart palpitations, muscle spasms. Other symptoms include painful menstruation, diminished sex drive, food cravings, and hot flashes. What is not a symptom is crazed bloodlust. Treatments include changes in diet, regular exercise, stress management, vitamin supplements, anti-inflammatory medicines, SSRIs or antidepressant medications, and birth control pills. What is not a treatment is going on a blood-crazed murder spree. So that's what they're saying. That's the explanation of why Mary went bonkers, is because she had basically bad PMS or bad periods, and I'm not one, but 12 might be maybe pushing it on. I don't know if that's quite.
I mean, everyone's a little different.
Everyone's a little different, but if you're going childbirth and she should have been like 14, 16, not 12. If you're gonna go that.
Well, after you listed all the symptoms and possible side effects, I just gotta say I'm fucking glad I'm a man.
Yeah. Now, I can kind of understand some of that. Maybe people want to kill, but I mean, that's such a weird premise for really mass murderer.
It's one of the strangest ones I think we've come across is super PMS.
Yeah, it's basically super PMS is what made this girl go fucking crazy and go on murder spree. And it's not just murder. It's not like she just went on murder spree because she was agitated and cramping. Like apparently there had been more to it because she's like when we see her sitting in that in the beginning of the movie, she's just staring comatose into a mirror, and then she's in the hospital room sitting naked on a floor. That shit is not normal. There's something else going on there besides bad periods, and they completely like wash over that aspect. So this is a weird fucking premise we're going with here.
This bitch is crazy when she gets her period, man.
Yeah.
You know, like that's their whole angle.
Yeah. So back to the movie now. After the Mary Hatchet articles and the doctor reports, we get more random articles about the new local quote-unquote holiday called Blood Night and how teenagers run amok during Blood Night. Basically treated as like Halloween on steroids type thing. It's just nothing but pranks and you know, just blatant destruction, vandalism. It's spooky.
Crap,
It's basically, prank night or whatever. We also see that the mental hospital Mary was at has been shut down, and that tonight is the 20th anniversary of Blood Night, which is the night Mary killed her parents as a kid. Although I think it would make more sense when she went on a completely bloody rampage at the hospital, not right? Because that's way more bloodshed and murder than when she killed just her parents. But anyway, that's the setup. And like I said, that's the first 16 minutes of the movie we just went through right there. For 15, 16 minutes of the movie, that's it, and barely a word's been spoken. So
there's a lot to unpack in the first 15 minutes, and then the rest of the movie is kind of like, whoa.
Yeah, and the rest of the movie we can skip over, basically, for the most part.
Yeah, basically.
So after the credits roll, we go to the local high school where we start to meet our one-dimensional and zero-dimensional kids, whose many of their names don't fucking matter.
It doesn't matter what your name is!
That's right, Rock.
One of the main guys is clearly way too fucking old to be playing a high school kid. He's so old that the bags under his eyes have bags themselves. And
the guy with like a full beard,
almost
like the stubble of it.
Yeah, like
he looks like he's been smoking like cigarettes for like 20 years.
Yeah,
and he's 18.
I basically just call him Old Man Logan because he's got this big poofy hair too. And he's got it's Old Man Logan. He's short like Wolverine in the comics too. He's not a big guy. Anyway, so Old Man Logan and his sidekick, I just call him sidekick. Basically, they shoo off this pair of underclassmen who come and like, hey guys, let's hang out tonight for Blood Night. Yeah, woo! And they're like, get out of here, underclassmen. Nah, boo, shame on you. And they're like, you're not good enough to hang out at our party tonight. So up runs another
VIP only.
Yeah. Up runs another nameless meat sack and his blonde fuck toy girl. Old Man Logan tells them that they have to start early tonight because he has something special planned for Blood Night. And we jump at this point straight to the montage of the group being rambunctious and crazy as they get ready for Blood Night. They're going around town doing like lame pranks and just being assholes, basically. Just
a lot of eggs involved. Yeah,
and like, it just asshole
So right
behavior.
off the bat, they're like, you kind of hate these guys. You know, because they're just being total pricks, total assholes. They're egging people's cars and throwing eggs at people.
Yeah.
And, you know, like tagging shit. And, you know, it's just like, they're just being absolute fucking hooligans.
Exactly.
And these are our sympathetic characters.
These are the ones we're supposed to root for. So after the montage, we cut to a cemetery where our main group is at, and they sit on or around Mary Mattock, a.k.a. Mary Hatchet's grave.
Okay, real quick.
Yes.
Real quick. They talked about how this is a VIP-only event. It's exclusive. I got something real big planned. You're thinking a big-ass fucking party, right?
Right.
Why is it, in all these goddamn horrible horror movies that we watch, whenever they talk about this bash of the year, it's going to be so epic. It's like the max is like 10 people sitting around in some fucking, in the middle of nowhere with no music, just like with like 2 beers. Like, this is your rager? This is your big fucking like moment?
Yeah, I guess it's supposed to be.
Why can't horror movies get this fucking right?
Yeah, I don't know. You would think like the party they talk about, it's gonna be the party. You think that could be part like parties from like Can't Hardly Wait or something like that, or the parties you see in like American Pie at the end of the movie, like these big blow parties. But no, it's like, you're right. It's like 10 people and a 6-pack. It's the worst.
Yeah, and just undersell it a little bit, man. Just be like, hey, I got something kind of cool. We're going to go to the great. Okay, cool, yeah. Don't fucking sell me that it's going to be this major rager.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So they bring out the beer while Old Man Logan busts out some the old Milton Bradley Ouija board, the cheapest of the cheap Ouija boards, and they try to contact Mary's spirit as thunder begins to roll in. They get startled when the planchette moves a bit, and this blah 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 just goes on for a while. Like, oh, you moved it, no, I didn't, blah blah blah. And then they immediately get scared again by Graveyard Gus, who pops up out of nowhere.
The lovable old Gus.
Yeah. Like I said, earlier I said, like I said, he's played by Bill Moseley. He basically scolds them for using the Ouija board and warns them, like, you shouldn't mess with these things. They're bad.
You're going to awaken the spirits, you dumb dog dick.
Yeah. Old Man Logan convinces Gus to tell him a ghost story about Mary Hatchet. Like, come on, Gus, you've been around. You know the story. Why don't you tell us?
And to be perfectly honest, I would love to hear a ghost story told by Bill Moseley. I would be fucking sold. I mean, this part, I'm like, ooh, I hope it's good. And it wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad. He tells them. He doesn't tell him. He doesn't retell the story of like what we saw in the opening book of Mary killing her parents. Instead, he gives us another story. I guess that happened after. So I'm not gonna say it. It's a ghost story. So he tells about this couple, this like relatively newlywed couple with their newborn baby in the car. They're driving down the road, like I said, with their newborn baby in the back seat. And as they're driving, they spot this naked woman walking down the side of the road. So out of concern, they stop and they want to pick her up and help her out. So the mom gets out with the coat, puts a coat around her, and they bring her back to the car, put her in the back seat. They take off driving again, and they start hearing these weird noises coming from the back seat. And they turn and look in the back seat, and they see the woman is now covered in blood and screaming at them. They slam on the brakes. Yeah, a bullet hole on her forehead. They slam on the brakes, and when they look up, they see Mary is now walking in front of the car, is back outside the car, walking across like in front of the car, and she's holding the baby in her arms. The couple looks back in the back seat to see, like, oh my God, or check on the kid, but the baby's still there. Like, oh, okay, our baby's still here. And they look back to the front of the car to see Mary, and Mary is now gone. She's disappeared again. She's like, oh, that's confusing. They look back into the baby again in the back seat, and now Mary is back in the back seat. She screams like, ah, and then she just cuts off the couple's heads with a hatchet in one's throat. Blood explodes inside the car. And legend has it that this is what Gus says, that basically the legend has it that Mary took the baby back to the grave with her. And every year on Blood Night, Mary comes back from the dead to collect more heads. And that's the story, basically this ghost story he tells.
Yeah, she will not rest until she finds her lost baby, because they weren't buried together.
Yeah.
She was buried in this cemetery, and the baby was buried in a different one. They should have buried them together, he says, and she will not rest. And Blood Night will occur. Heads will roll. Babies will vanish. And parties will be had.
Well, technically, they wouldn't be buried together anyway because the baby died, quite a bit before she did. Was already buried before she died, but I get it. But yeah, they should be buried next to each other. So, yeah, okay. Yeah. So anyway, at this point, we cut to this girl Nicole, her house where our big quote unquote VIP bash is going to take place, and one by one the group starts to trickle into the house. There's a jump scare. They get jump scared by the two underclassmen we saw earlier, who jump out of a closet wearing like a Mary Hatchet face, mask or something like that. And the underclassmen tell the seniors that they planned this little scare to show them that, hey, we too can hang with the seniors. We can hang with the big guys. Look, we scared you. Ha ha. Old Man Logan shows that he's about to kick them out, but the underclassman, whose name I think is Gibbs, says, hey, don't get out. I brought liquor, dude. I brought liquor. It's a top shelf shit, man. I got the good stuff. So like, oh, well, okay, you can stay then because you brought booze. You can stay. So, like I said, they start decorating the house for Blood Night. And now you might be thinking, what are Blood Night decorations? You might be asking yourself. Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you. It's basically hundreds and hundreds of bloody tampons stringed together and hung up like fucking Christmas lights. You heard that right. Bloody fucking tampons strung up around the house are the decorations. Like, are you... Like, at first, I didn't even notice until I was looking in the back. I'm like, what the fuck? Are that bloody tampons? Like, yeah, that's bloody fucking tampons. Real class act decorations here.
Why can't they throw in a like you have the tampon floor? What about a few maxi pads? You know, what about the cups? Maybe they should have a few cups of blood out there too. You know, let's crank it up a notch.
Yeah, or something like, boxes of Midol spread around the house just to, make it a little more festive. But fuck it. So now starts the insanely long and incredibly unrealistic party scenes. Which, like, this is where I'm going to start skimming over most of this and just give you kind of the cliff notes of this party. So first, Meat Sack and Blonde Girl Fuck Toy, they show up at the party. Nicole, she has just a fucking redonkulous body. I'll give you that right now. Just sick body.
Yep.
At one point, Jen, the black girl, and Nicole have a better ass contest. So that happens. A window gets accidentally broken when some more people show up. One of which is Old Man Logan's girl, Lainey. And at this point, we learn Old Man Logan's name is Alex. Also in this new group is Alyssa, a.k.a. Danielle Harris, who I love, but I'm sorry, at this point, she should not be playing a high school kid. Yes, she's still very pretty, and she's very petite.
32 years old at the time.
Yes, she's so obvious. She's like, speaking of Alex, and where you said, Alex is played by Nate Dushku, who was 31 at the time of trying to play 18. That name might sound familiar because he's also the much lesser known brother of Elijah Dushku. Daniel Harris was also 31 years old at the time of filming. So you got two 31-year-olds trying to play 18. Like, god damn, come on. Anyway, Meat Sack and Blonde Fuck Toy, who they never really speak at all in this scene. All they do is make out. They just they end up going upstairs to a bedroom to fuck. Everyone else gets drunk, just starts drinking, they get drunk. Old Man Logan or Alex finds an old film projector and a film strip of Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, which they're gonna set up the projector to watch the movie. But when they turn it on, they find that someone switched out Killer Tomatoes for some old 70s porn movie. So there's a big, whoa, porn gag, ha.
It's an old stag party, reel to reel, yeah.
Yeah, we get some porn. Jen, the black girl, Nicole, they start dancing, giving partial striptease dance and lap dances for everyone, and just dry humping people. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but the things Jen and Nicole do, I'm sorry, no high school girl, I don't think would do that. Like, we had a lot of crazy parties when we were that age in my house, and we did that. But never, especially at this age, like, 18, I don't think any girl would just start stripping and dancing and dry humping a bunch of dudes at this party when they're 8. Like, I just find it so unbelievable. I just, like, maybe if it was college or something, but this is high school. You don't even know if these girls are completely even 18 yet at this point. It just, it's so unrealistic. Anyway, Jen, the black girl, for no reason whatsoever, just out of the blue, just suddenly has this thing for the underclassman Gibbs. Like, who's the entire movie, everyone's been making fun of him. They've been picking on, kind of pushing him around. But now Jen is saying, like, wants that underclassman dick for no reason whatsoever. Just out, it's just, boom. Hey, I'm going to take you upstairs and we're going to fuck. It's so out of the blue. So just... where'd this even come from? There's no build up to it at all.
All this Marshall's been describing, he kind of covered in about 2-3 minutes.
Yeah.
This goes on for half an hour or longer, all this shit.
Well, like I said, this started, like, the first 15, 16 minutes was the good stuff. And I wrote in my notes, we're at the 48-minute mark. 48 minutes to where some shit finally goes down. So that entire party scene, is drawn for, like a half hour or longer of just nothing happening. Ugh. So basically, Meat Sack and Blonde Fuck Toy they're fucking up in the bedroom. Meat Sack's on top, and he gets stabbed and impaled several times by a large pair of scissors through the neck, and stabbed so much that his head comes off. Like, they just stab him so many times that his neck just disappears and his head falls off.
And they can't be heard screaming because everyone's still raging partying.
Yeah, they're screaming downstairs, music playing. All 8 people because at the raging party.
Yeah.
So Blonde Fuck Toy gets covered in blood. No one can hear her screaming. But we never see what happens next. We don't see what happens to blonde fucktoy because the movie just cuts to black at this point. She's screaming, cut to black. We never see what happens to her. We go back downstairs to the others. The underclassmen, the other underclassmen, not Gibbs, goes outside for no reason at all. The party's going on. He just leaves, goes outside to sit alone on the patio.
He's like soaking it in. He's like, I'm at a party.
He's like, I finally made it. I've risen.
He's like soaking in the moment in a private period. You know, like
yeah. So he ends up throwing up in the grass, and then when he lifts his head back up, he sees the killer coming at him. He screams, but again, we don't see anything as it cuts to a close-up of a strawberry margarita being blended in a blender. The blonde dude, this blonde dude who's like all about drinking, he wears like one of those knit skull caps at all times, even though it's like spring. He's one of those assholes.
You really hate those guys, man.
I do. I'm sorry. The people who wear like winter hats, like these knit skull caps, like the middle of summer, I want to walk up and just slap those things off their fucking heads. It's like, what? How? It's like 90 degrees outside. You're wearing a fucking knit cap. Take that shit off.
You have to be so uncomfortable, you dumb fuck.
Yeah, like you're gonna be sweaty. Your hair's gonna be all dirty. God damn it. What's wrong with you? Anyway, so that guy, he walks in on Danielle Harris in the bathroom she's on the bathroom floor looking like she's about to throw up. And he's drunk. He closes the door. He says some shit. He leaves. He lets her be. Shortly after that, the power goes out. Everyone gathers in the living room. The girls are scared, thinking that it's someone trying to fuck with them, while the others actually think it's like, some people are like, no, it's just people just fucking with us for, blood night, no big deal. And there's some people in the group who legitimately think it's the ghost of Mary Hatchet because of the shit, the Ouija board ghost story at the cemetery. Like, no, Mary's really here. I'm like, bitch, get the fuck out of here, bitch. Get out. Just if you're that stupid, get out right now. Anyway, so Alex, Old Man Logan, he goes upstairs to get meat sack and blonde fuck toy while he sends one of the other nameless guys downstairs along with Alyssa to check on the breaker box. Now, instead of going to the bedroom where meat sack and fuck toy were banging, which would make sense because that's where he went to go, for some reason he goes straight to the bathroom for no reason whatsoever. Lightning flashes or the power comes on for a brief second, I don't know, but there's lights there, and it reveals that the bathroom is covered in blood. Just like we saw in the opening movie, just covered in blood everywhere.
Yeah, the lights come on for a brief moment.
Alex rushes back downstairs to join the others. At this point, the now headless body of the other underclassman comes crashing through the window and lands at their feet. Everyone screams, freaks out, and starts running for the door as where was it? As Alex runs back upstairs again to get meat sack and fuck toy, which he should have done in the first place, but he didn't. So I don't know. I'm taking a quick note here on Classman Body. Something I want to talk about later.
Oh boy.
So everyone at this point, so everyone else flees the house. They run out of the house. Alex heads down to the basement to look for the nameless guy and Alyssa. He finds blood all over the floor and assumes they're both dead. Runs back upstairs out of the house to join the others. They go to get in their cars to leave, but they open up a car door and the body of some completely random dude just falls out.
Yeah.
Like, who's this guy? Like, I don't even know who this guy is. Like, you've never seen him before. Or like, why is he in their car dead?
And they're all saying they have flat tires. All of our tires are flat.
Yeah, that too. I forgot about that, but
but I'm like, bitch, the car will still start and move.
Yeah. I mean, is that desperate?
Yeah, your axles are gonna be fucked. You gotta pay a little. You got good insurance. You're fine. But fuck, get the fuck out of there.
The other thing I don't understand is like, it's not like they're out. Like, they never say they're out in like the middle of the fucking country. They're in maybe a small town, but your neighbors probably like. There's gotta be neighbors like right. Just go to the neighbor's house. Like why? Like just go down the street. Like it's not like an old dirt road. You're in a town. Just go somewhere. But anyway, at this point, Gus just happens to be driving by and pulls up.
Old Gus.
He's like, "Hey guys, hop on in my truck. I'll drive you somewhere." And so they all hop in. They drive off in his truck. As they drive, Gus tells them this shit made me laugh too. I find this kind of funny. Gus tells them that the horrors of Vietnam, the horrors of Vietnam, the atrocities and war of Vietnam are nothing compared to the shit that he's seen Mary Hatchet unleash on his fellow workers. What? So for some reason, I don't. First of all, is Mary Hatchet going around killing like graveyard groundskeepers for some reason? No, like I don't understand this. Or is there implying that Gus at one point worked at the asylum and we never made that clear? That's the only thing I can think of. But
right, that's the impression I got.
But still, it's like to compare that to the Vietnam War, that's a giant fucking stretch.
It's so weird too. I mean, I did the math, and technically, Bill Moseley. I mean, if it was Bill Moseley's age, he could have been in Nam, like the very end of Nam, and been a very young man. So I give him that. But really, you're gonna bring up Nam? It seems like that's something you wanted to do in like the '80s, maybe the '90s. It's like, come on, let's get something a little newer.
He would definitely have to be older too. I mean, and even if it was like if he wasn't at the very like his base, he would have been at the very end of Nam. Now I'm not a complete historian, but he wouldn't have seen that much horrors by that stage in the war if he was wrapping up and getting out. Like my dad saw some shit, but my dad's like in his mid to late 70s at this point. Like he was in it like and in its prime. Like he but this shit. So stuff like that it bothers me. I don't know, because they kind of downplay that shit. But anyway, so for some reason, I don't know why, but Gus, instead of taking him to the police or taking him home or taking him to safety, takes this truck full of high school kids to the old abandoned asylum where Mary was locked up. And as they pull up, Gus looks up and sees the naked ghost of Mary standing in the front doorway. And after a moment, she just kind of steps back into the shadows and vanishes from sight. And only he sees her. Everybody's like, what'd you see, Gus? Like, nothing, I guess. That whole thing. Everyone gets out. Gus grabs a few shovels from the back of his truck, leads him to the only grave he ever dug at the asylum. The grave of Mary Hatchet's baby.
So wait a minute. He dug the grave for the baby?
That's what, so Graveyard Dust dug the baby's grave. That's what they're saying, yes.
And he's the one bitching about how they should be Motherfucker, you're the guy who did it.
Exactly. Now, granted, maybe he had no control or, he's just doing his, bury her. But yeah, he's the one who fucking did it.
Do you think he could go back when it's, a couple years later when the hospital closed down? It's like, you know what? I need to do right by this, considering he's so fucking concerned about it. In the beginning of the movie, you think he'd have the wherewithal to just get that shit done?
Oh my god! Okay.
Blood Night.
I'm gonna write a quick note here. Baby, dig up. Because I have a note for this later.
That's a great sentence. Baby, dig up. Blood Night.
Blood Night, Gus. Okay, so, anyway, so everyone gets out. All right, I did. So they dig up the baby's grave, and they find this box that's in. It's the baby. Yeah, it's a box. You hear me? It's a fucking box, not a baby coffin, not something proper. It's just a fucking box, and like you would bury a dead hamster in or a bird in your backyard. It's a fucking box, and they open it up, and the box is empty inside.
Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah. So seeing that the box is empty. And still, instead of going fucking home where it's safe or getting authorities, they decide to go into the asylum because, of course, why fucking not? So for some reason, Gus has the fucking keys to the place. Again, I don't know why a gravekeeper would have the keys to an abandoned asylum. What?
So
what?
I guess I'm assuming that he is he was an employee there at one time, I'm guessing.
But even if he wasn't employed there, like, why would he still have the keys? Like, those should have been surrendered upon closure or about his termination or what. There's no reason he should have the keys to a fucking asylum.
Well, it's kind of funny you say that, Marcia, because I've got keys to the building that had Brown Mackie College. I still got keys to Kindred Hospital. I still got keys to a couple other places. Don't tell anybody.
Well, fuck, man. Let's go on a drug run some night, man. Let's get our black clothes on our ski mask and let's go on a fucking drug run. Get them prescription drugs. Get the good. Get that morphine. Get the good.
Get the good.
Anyway, so even more believable than Gus having the keys is the fact that for some reason the abandoned asylum that's been abandoned for like 20 years or something like that still has fucking power for some reason. How? Why is there power in this place? I don't, like, that blows my mind that there would be power here. So
yeah, who knows?
They all go to like the old records room, which is the size of like a big closet, which
now,
again is ridiculous.
This to me is way more unbelievable than the fucking power still being on. They have all the patient's records still there in files, in file cabinets,
just for anybody to find,
hanging open.
Yeah,
I mean, this is like the biggest HIPAA violation ever.
Yeah, those records should either been destroyed, taken somewhere else when the facility was closed down, not just left there. And the a records room for a massive hospital would probably be a lot bigger and more organized than just a fucking closet with boxes thrown in there and just piled on top of each other. Like, it's the worst, most unthought out laziness. It's so bad.
So I talk to medical records all the time as my new job, as part of my job. I constantly talk to people in medical records. There's some pretty ignorant motherfuckers in medical records. Not all of them, but man, there's some disorganized fucks. You know, like old Jimmy Fuck Up, his dad's a doctor, and it's like, well, I'll get you a job in the fucking medical records. That's where they wind up, man. I swear to God. So that part, I was like, okay, I got it.
All right, so I forgot to say, as they walk down the halls to the record room, Gus has more visions of naked Mary ghost throughout in the hallways. So, it turns out Alex's sidekick and Nicole decide to stay back with the truck instead of go in. Sidekick pulls out a flip phone to call the cops. I'm like, finally! You should have done this shit a long fucking time ago. You know, maybe right when you saw the headless body come crashing through the fucking window. Maybe that's a good time to call the cops. But no, they waited like 20 minutes to do it. But it's just so when he could have called the cops as soon as they got into the truck with Gus. He could have called them while they were driving, but nope, didn't do that either. Anyway, so he pulls out, and as he starts dialing the phone, wham! Sidekick gets straight up Mortal Kombat-esque fatality to it. His head gets like sliced in two, like a fucking katana, like it would what, or like.
Kung Lao's hat.
Yeah, like something like, or like a laser, like super crisp, clean cut.
Kano's laser eye.
Yeah, and you see like just half of his head, like it's at an angle too, so you see like half his head just like slide off and fall to the ground with the brain splattering on the pavement at Nicole's feet. She screams and runs off, rightfully so.
I kind of love it.
I kind of love it too. Yeah, I will say that. It was pretty awesome. But it just like, it's a great looking kill. But my problem with it is that, one, there's no fucking way the killer would have been able to get that close and to pull this off without being seen. Because they're out kind of in a parking lot, so there's nowhere to hide. And they're like not, and they're facing each other, so one person could see behind the other one.
Yes.
There's no way to be snuck up on. And the killer would have to get so fucking close to do that the other one would blatantly see him right there. It's like, I kind of hate that. It kind of ruins the kill for me. It's like, what the fuck? So, anyway, it looks great, but it's just nonsense. It doesn't make any sense. So, Nicole, instead of running into the hospital to get the rest of the group, she runs off by herself into, like, some old barn next door. I don't know why there's a barn there, but there is. So, I don't know. She runs up some stairs in the barn. She trips. And that's when she gets a fucking pickaxe in the back. And she, too, gets another Mortal Kombat fatality-like death. Yes. The killer, who I guess is Italian and loves spaghetti, treats her innards as such. The killer rips out her whole spinal cord, which is like embedded, like stuck on the tip of the pickaxe, and starts to spin the pickaxe around several times. It's like wrapping the intestines around the pickaxe like it's spaghetti on a fork. And it looks pretty great, but Nicole is just like, not like it's like she's cramping, like trying to pass a large shit. Not like, oh my god, my spinal cord and intestines are being ripped out. It's more like, It's a that's what she should be doing, but no. Anyway, it still looks good, but
and she just won't die. She's like,
yeah, I'm pretty sure if you had like your whole spinal cord ripped out and your chest, I think that'd always be an instant death. But she takes for
whole scene is so silly. Like, it's kind of cool, but it's like the rapid, like, totally, dude. I'm like, oh, dude, it's just fucking red sauce on spaghetti.
It's exactly what it is. Yeah.
And it just keeps going and going and going, and Nicole's just going, going and going, and I'm like, and there was something kind of cool. Finally, she does the finale, and she spits up mouth blood onto the camera.
Yeah.
And like it comes at the, so that part I actually kind of like.
So back in the records room, the group finds Mary's file, and upon reading it, they learn the completely and obvious secret that Mary's baby never actually died. Dun dun dun. That the doctors just took the baby and had it like basically sent to an orphanage where it was adopted. And that baby is, again, to no one's fucking surprise, is the now grown up Danielle Harris, Alyssa. So now with that, we flash back to Danielle killing everyone. We at back of the house. We see, the kill at the house, but now we just see it with Danielle actually committing the murders. And it turns out she wasn't throwing up in the bathroom when we saw her. When the guy walked in there, she was actually having horrible PMS cramps, which led to the period from hell as we watch as she starts to gush blood from between her legs and tries to shove a tampon up inside of her. And this is what apparently sent her into a bloodthirsty, monstrous rampage again, was just a bad period. Like, what the fuck? Are you kidding? Like, seriously? Like, this is almost insulting to women. Like, if I was a woman watching, I'd be so pissed, I think. Like, this is stupid. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
When Aunt Flo comes to town, she takes a knife.
Yeah. The Crimson Tide. Ride that wave. Of death. Ride the wave of death. Ugh. And so much blood comes out of her. Like, it's like, you might as well just, like, cut off an arm. Like, that much blood is coming out between her legs. It's all over the place. Yeah. So we see a quick shot of Danielle Harris walking towards the asylum carrying a pickaxe. The group exits the record room and sees Danielle Harris standing at the end of the hallway with the axe. Now, they all look like, oh my God, and they run for the door. They find it locked. Harris swings the pickaxe, killing Graveyard Gus by stabbing him in the neck with the pickaxe. And now, at this point, I get so fucking mad at what these fucktards do next. Keep in mind,
I got to tell you how mad I am here, because Danielle Harris is a pretty small, diminutive person.
Yes, thank you.
She's got a very heavy pickaxe, and there's like 6 people.
Yes,
and
thank
her.
You. Yeah,
and
there's like 6 of them.
Oh no!
They just watched her kill Gus, and there's 6 of them, and the dudes, like the 2 or 3 dudes left, at least 2 dudes, they tower. Well, maybe not Old Man Logan Alex, he's tiny. But Sidekick? No, wait, he's dead. The other guy, there's still one more guy left, I think. And, it's Gibbs. Gibbs is there. There's at least 2 dudes that could easily overpower Danielle Harris, who was like 5'4" on a good day. And like, so tiny. And they could easily just bum rush her and end this. But they don't. Instead of that, they fucking scatter and run in different fucking directions. Not today as a group, they all scatter off like fucking cockroaches fleeing when the light comes on, just scurry all these different ways. And then on top of that, Danielle Harris, so she starts going after him, but Danielle Harris is wearing a fucking mini skirt with high-heeled boots. I mean, it's not the best outfit to be going on a murder spree in. And her heels are just clank, 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 clop, clop, clop. They echo down the hallway. There's no...
Gosh, it's boom, 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 boom.
But
everywhere she goes. Which now, in hindsight, knowing that she's the killer and that she killed that guy in the parking lot being so stealthy and was able to get to... That's even more bullshit.
Yes,
she would have been clumping her goddamn shoes all over that place.
Yes. So Harris easily tracks down Gibbs and Jen, who are hiding in a room. She grabs Gibbs and drags him away into the shadows, but he reaches out for Jen. She grabs his hand to try to pull him back. And again, I'm sorry, but there's no way that this tiny girl, Alyssa, down here, would have the strength to pull Gibbs away like this, especially when the other girl grabs it and starts pulling her Gibbs. Like, she's just not going to be strong enough to do that. And that's just saying and that's like the power of PMS gives her Hulk strength or something like that.
Yes, I was just about to say it's got to be super enhanced period power.
So, god damn it. So Harris swings the pickaxe down at Jen and just cuts off her hand in like one slice with the pickaxe, what? Yeah, what? I'm sorry. You want to cut off a hand in one stroke with a pickaxe. But it allows her to pull Gibbs fully into the darkness and out. He's gone. He's dead. And then what happens next in this moment, I shit you not, I literally laughed out loud. Like, I was giggling and I was laughing so much because basically a giant bucket of blood just gets thrown in Jen's face from off screen. Like, the sheer amount of blood, it's ridiculous. It's like that old Nickelodeon show, You Can't Do It on Television, when somebody would say, like, what? And like, the slime would just drop on their head from out of nowhere. That's basically what happens in this scene. Jen just sitting there, and just a gallons of blood just get thrown on her. I was laughing my ass off at this. And then
I wish I could be the person whose like job it is to splash the actor or actress with the blood. Dude. Okay, here it comes. What? Because it's obvious. A giant bucket of blood just got splashed in your face. Yeah.
And then she too just gets dragged out of sight. She's never seen again. So now we cut to blonde guy. That's the other guy there. So there's three dudes. There's Gibbs, Old Man Logan, and blonde guy in the skull cap, in the knit hat, who's he's running down the hallways. He's running. And somehow, like we mentioned, Harris is able to sneak up on him, like, despite the loudest echoing of her heels, but she's there, and he doesn't see her until he turns around. And she bashes him in the mouth with a pickaxe. He falls to the floor, mouth's all bloody. I think a tooth goes flying. And she proceeds to hack him to death with a pickaxe. And this is probably the worst looking kill because, like I said, and Aaron, you mentioned it too, it just doesn't look very good because Danielle Harris is so tiny and looks like she's legitimately having a hard time trying to swing this pickaxe up and down. Like, she's choking up on that thing like a baseball, like you choke up on a baseball bat. She's not holding it down the base and like really getting a big swing like the hammer. She's choked up on this thing. She's going, It just doesn't look very good.
Yeah, it looks pretty weak. It looks like she's more poking him with a pickaxe instead of, absolutely destroying his body. But yeah, it does look pretty weak here.
So next, Harris finds the room that Alex, Old Man Logan, and Lainey are hiding in, kicks open the door. Lainey pleads with Harris to stop. She's like, come on, we're friends. I'm your friend. Let's don't do this, blah, blah, blah. Alex and Harris, they have a face-off. They kind of stand there staring down each other. And then Alex does what they should have done a long fucking time ago and just straight up decks her right in the face. Just punches Danielle Harris in the face. She drops the pickaxe. Like, holy motherfucker. If you would have done that shit about 10 minutes ago, maybe all your friends would still be alive.
Right.
Because, god damn it, one punch to her face and she drops the pickaxe and you guys could have swarmed her. God! Jesus, it's this mentality. So, anyway, Harris and Alex get into a fight. They struggle, but the larger, stronger Alex eventually overpowers Harris. Who would have thought that? Who would have thought that would have happened? He gets her on the floor. He mounts her and just starts choking the shit out of her. The whole time.
Just murder choke.
Yeah, it's murder. And the whole time, Lainey's in the background screaming for him to stop because that's her friend. And he does, don't kill her. And I'm scared, blah, blah, blah. But Alex just strangles Danielle Harris to death. She's dead. Alex and Lainey hug, and then they head for the exit doors. They reach the exit doors, and I can't fathom what they do next. I just cannot understand this. Instead of just getting the fuck out, getting in the truck, and going to call the cops, and going for help, and just leaving, they just fucking stand there and look at each other like they're in love for the first time. Like, oh, I love you so much. Just having that heartfelt moment. I love you. Oh, it's so great. They're just standing there doing nothing for what seems like 2 minutes. Like, it's maybe not that long, but it seems like a really long fucking time. And then from out of fucking nowhere, we hear the sound of a hatchet swinging, and Alex's head just pops right off, just goes flying off. Lainey screams, looks over, and sees Mary's naked ghost staying there in the hallway with the hatchet in hand. Mary screams, raises the hatchet, charges at Laney, blackout, roll credits. That is fucking Blood Knight and the Legend of Mary Hatchet. So, with that said, yeah.
Christ.
So let's move on to favorite kills.
Don't act like you didn't love it. Favorite kill.
All right.
Yeah, there's actually some pretty good kills in this one. Honestly, I gotta give them credit. If you're gonna get fucking off the rails with the story towards the end, at least you gave us some fun kills.
Yeah, I'll give them that much. The blood was over the top. The gore was there. The kills were good. That's the one thing it has for it. So what's your favorite kill then, man?
It's kind of tough, but I think I'm gonna go with the head stabbing until the head fell off. Like the girl's screaming. She's naked. There's blood flying.
Oh, the sex one, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Meat sack.
Stabbing, and then it's. I think it's like the top of his head comes off.
No, because it's the neck. She stabbed.
The neck?
Yeah, because he stabbed it. She stabs him neck so many times that the head just comes off the neck.
But it's gruesome. It's gory. It's not a clean chop. It's just stab, and off it comes. I like that. I thought that was pretty good.
Okay. For me, it's probably either the head slice in half because that just looked good, even though it's very unrealistic that how the killer would have gotten that close and do it unseen. And then
what the fuck did she use?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If she's using a pickaxe or an axe, there's no way either one of those has a blade sharp enough and slim enough to make a cut like that. Like I said, she'd have to use like a katana, like a super sharp katana. Was the only thing I could think of that would make that fine of a cut, or like Predator's like laser, like a Predator laser or something. I don't fucking know, but it looked great, and even the pickaxe to the back of the spinal cord, it was different. It looked good, as ridiculous and over the top as it was. But
I want to hear like festive Italian music in the background during that.
I want to hear that. It's amore, when the sun hits your eye like a warm pizza pie. That's amore. You want to hear that. Or when the moon hits your eye, not the sun. But I don't know. Like the stabby one you did is good, but it's dark and fast. I'm going to go even though it doesn't make any sense and not realistic. I'll probably go with the head slice in half because it looked good. And for this level of a movie, the way how good it looked really surprised me. I didn't think they'd be able to pull something off like that and make it look as good as it did. So I'm gonna go with that one for my favorite kill. So let's move on to odds and ends.
Just when you thought it was over, here comes the odds and ends.
All right, ratings. IMDb gives it a 4.4 out of 10. There is no official thermometer score on Rotten Tomatoes, but it has an 18% audience score. And then on the opposite end, Amazon gives it a 4.1 out of 5. So 4 out of 5 on Amazon.
Right. Wow.
Plot keywords. There were 58 total plot keywords. Most of them sound like fucking
health class
porn movie. Yeah, health class porn movie. We have female frontal nudity, bare breasts, nudity, breast fondling, punched in the face, hitting the groin, interracial sex, lap dance, stripping, oral sex, watching porn, rape, and stabbed in the eye. I had to go with that one though. So
what about period? What about menstrual cycle? What about that? Was that in there too?
Yeah, those were in there too. Well, yeah, so basically, it was.
Those are way more unique plot keywords. We've never had that.
Yeah, you're right.
Those would be ones to pick out. Like super period, killer period.
No, you're totally right. I
should.
Crimson Tide of Death. God, I swear, like the fucking Alabama, man, they should climb the University of Alabama should clean out this movie or something. I don't know. But you're right. I should have gone with those. Trivia. Now, surprisingly, there was a decent amount of trivia I found for this movie. I was really kind of shocked by that.
It helps having Bill Moseley and Danielle Harris give it a little bit of clout.
I really think I think that is it. So the wardrobe of Graveyard Gus was actually an homage to Crazy Ralph in the Friday the 13th series. He was dressed just like Crazy Ralph.
I can see that now. I can kind of see that, yeah.
All of Samantha Fauci's exterior nude scenes were shot in sub-freezing weather. Samantha Fauci is the one who played Mary, the naked ghost. So it was like freezing outside when she was naked doing those.
Hence the super nips.
Yeah. Despite Blood Night being a tale about Long Island, shot on Long Island with a cast and crew of mainly people from Long Island, production was not always welcome in the area. The production team was frequently harassed, fined, and eventually sued by the mayor of the town, who did not want a horror movie being filmed in the town.
That's funny.
Yeah, the tale of Blood Night was based off a popular Long Island, New York urban legend of Mary Hatchet. So it's based on actual urban legend. And writer-director Frank Sabatel is from Long Island, so he grew up with the urban legend. The cemetery scene was shot at Cypress Hill Cemetery in Brooklyn, New York overnight. The crew would eat lunch in a mausoleum since it was too cold outside. Legendary actors...
And then they would party to Insane the Membrane.
Yeah. Legendary actress Mae West was entombed in the mausoleum the Blood Night crew was held in. And one night the cast and crew all paid her a visit. The bloody bathroom scene was the first scene Daniel Harris shot for the film. So that was day one for her on set.
Mae West is buried at that asylum scene?
No, not the asylum. The cemetery where they did the Ouija board.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, what the fuck?
Yeah,
you know?
a mausoleum at that cemetery.
Why don't you come up and see me sometime?
The initial strip
That was a horrible Mae West, sorry.
The initial striptease scene was accidentally deleted during production, and the scene needed to be completely reshot over again. And I call bullshit on that. I think that's just a pervy director wanting to see the young girls dance and strip down again. It's like, oops, we deleted. You gotta do it again, girls. Anyway, the Excess Mountain Sanitarium had its own creepy tales of ghouls, one of which was a black shadow which occupied one of the buildings and a wandering spectral nurse. So that was the sanitarium where they filmed at. Most of the props in the sanatorium were left over from when the building was abandoned. Apparently, the building's owners could not get a cleaning crew to properly remove the materials longer than a week. They'd all leave after experiencing supernatural occurrences.
God.
The opening tale of Mary Hatchet's childhood was shot several months after the initial production schedule with a different cinematographer. Most of the special effects for the film were shot in one day after principal photography was wrapped. The special effects were first constructed with silicone heads, live cast from the actors. They were then enhanced with digital effects afterwards. The actors were not shot in the same positions, or were shot in the same positions with their faces were composed, on top of the dummies. So, yeah, anyway. Since the overnight shot at the cemetery went on into the morning hours, a tent needed to be constructed to continue shooting the close-ups because the sun had risen in the background. The production tried to shoot in the actual Kings Park Sanitarium where it's supposed to take place in Long Island. However, due to the extreme degradation of the facility, it was deemed unsafe, and the Essex Mountain Sanitarium in central New Jersey was used as a replacement. A distraught crew member smashed the set windows with a hammer while the crew was on break. So most of the broken windows you see during the hallway scene were due to the self-destruction of a disgruntled crew member who just went on a rampage.
What an asshole.
Yeah. The candlelight seance in the cemetery is simulated with Christmas lights. And the sanatorium had no working heat, so portable heaters needed to be brought in to keep the holding areas warm. The sets, however, had no heat whatsoever when they were filming. So it seemed like a very cold and very rough filming schedule for them. So unfortunately, there is no budget. Can't play the budget game. I couldn't find anything on that.
That's a shame because I was kind of curious about that one.
So that just brings us to our 5-star reviews.
At the end of this day, one shall stand, one shall fall.
Good versus bad, right versus wrong, light versus dark. In the end, when the dust settles, who will be left standing after Mortal Kombat combat?
All right. So there were 121 total reviews on Amazon for this movie. This blew my mind. The breakdown here, 56% are 5-star reviews, with only 4% being 1-star reviews.
Wow.
Yeah. So here we go. I wrote down several, probably more than I should have for this, because I thought I was going to skip, I was gonna skip through most of that movie.
You don't have to read them all, man.
I'm gonna try to pick. I don't know. I'm gonna try to pick. I don't remember which ones are the good ones or not. So the first one's short. From Jake Snake, 1988. This movie is awesome. Daniel Harris does a great job, and Bill Moseley is also great too, playing Graveyard Gus. Great movie to watch. 5 stars. Real short and simple. Gregory A. Scott writes, been looking for this movie for a week now, and for some odd reason, Amazon's the only one that carries it that I could find. I unboxed it and went nuts! This movie wowed me from the get-go. It has everything that a slasher film could have. Gore, gratuitous sex, gore, partying, gore, dead teenagers, and did I mention gore? So what if it ain't an award-winning movie? Most of the suck anyways. That's how Larry Howard wrote. Most of the suck anyways. Rule 1, if you can keep my attention for 90 minutes, then you must be doing something right. Love the storyline, love the acting, love the gore scenes. In fact, the only complaint I have is that the fact that I blew $9.99 on the download when I should have just bought the DVD outright, which is what I'm doing after the holidays. 5 stars. So weird. From Skip Bizarre. Daniel Harris stars in this low-budget horror film. It's not Hatchet, but it's a very good film. Loved it. 5 stars. And last 5-star is from Paul Jr. Now, this one is written in all bold capital letters. So,
wow.
This is some movie. A lot of blood. The acting is okay, and the location is perfect. As you know, these kind of movies have boob shots. I just wish Hollywood would not have the naked scenes as much. It's okay to see a good-looking girl naked, but they overdo it. Plot of the story is about Mary Hatchet, this girl who had problems when she was small. She does a horrible thing to her parents, and the story goes on with her getting raped by a worker in the nut house. Things go wrong from there and takes you to a present day. This movie has some crazy parts, some blood, much blood. I give it 5 stars because of the plot to this and the plot to the story, and shows us that high school kids are same as my generation was. I say go ahead and spend the money. Oh yes, the music score in the beginning, spooky and sounds great. 5 stars. That's read verbatim.
That guy has a problem with boobs?
Yeah, like, who does that? Like, I wish there weren't so many good-looking naked girls in this movie. That ruins the movie for me. What? What? I don't know if I'd ever really say that, but all right.
Does not compute.
Yeah. Unless Paul pays for the other team, you know, I don't know. But if he does, fine. Which is fine. But I just don't know why you would, like, I would make sense.
Why even bring it up?
Yeah, I understand, like, a girl would say that, but I don't. It's just weird. So anyway, 1-star reviews. Here we go. From P. Branch. I have given this 2 stars if Daniel Harris had been the one running around nude, but she wasn't, so I did it. 1 star. From Michael Butts. And his review is entitled, PMS Goes Ballistic. The slasher genre has become one of horror's most abused formats. Blood Night is a prime example, lazy in that the movie uses a lengthy middle portion to focus on the obnoxious teen soft porn celebration with the titular holiday, quote unquote. None of the characters are given any real identities, and the actors left 17 years before. I don't know what that means. The menstrual connection is hilariously vulgar, and the excessive gore merely repugnant. Goof alert, when Mary Hatchet kills her parents, she's supposed to be in 1972. The newspaper headlines say Mary was 12 years old. In the present, her tombstone gives her the date birth of 1967, which made her 5, and definitely premenstrual. The addition of horror stars Bill Moseley and Daniel Harris does nothing to elevate the acting, and the remaining cast is, to be kind, terrible. 1 star. And lastly, the last one I wrote is from Einsatz, entitled Sex and Scissors. The opening sequence before the credits even roll gave me hope that this movie indeed be something I'd like to add to my collection of slasher films. Unfortunately, after the credits roll, it's as if another director took over and proceeded to ruin everything that I looked for. It looked so promising only minutes before. Suddenly, we're mistreated to the gathering of everything that looked of a group of nitwits all giggling like hyenas, carrying on like buffoons. No wonder their clique was so exclusive, no one wanted to hang out with these dopes. At the end of the movie, at this point in the movie, they grounded to a halt, veering off on a tangent as his gang wanders aimlessly, hangs out, yip, yap, yap, some more. Some of them got bright and unoriginal idea to play with a Ouija board in the cemetery, and then the creepy guy pops up, tells everyone the ghost story. What momentum they started with this is now gone because it's party time. Everyone gets drunk, sex ensues, dancing follows. They kept asking myself because at this point, I wasn't certain this is a horror movie. Isn't it? Right? It is a horror movie. It's as though they forgot the genre and decided instead to make an update of Porky's. It took forever before the story finally drifted back to matter at hand. By then, however, I lost interest in nothing they did after could change my mind. Worse than the no surprise killer is absurdly revealed. It's such a laughable revolution I could think was how stupid people are. You know what? Fuck this. He's getting on a little. He's carrying on to it. No one cares if a creep loses their head. It also don't help that the killer was itty bitty and wore
long.
It was itty bitty and wore noisy boots. So yeah, that one ran it on a bit, but you get the point. So sorry about that. I probably should have not read that one. Anyway, so there's the split. Aaron, what's your final thoughts on this one?
I will agree with that last reviewer that it seemed like there was two different, writers and directors essentially in the first 15 minutes of the movie, and then the rest of the movie. Maybe it's also the story that Gus tells, the way that's shot and the way that's done is somewhat reminiscent of the first part of the movie. It almost felt like there was just two separate pieces. And they kind of wrapped up, kind of expressed exactly what I was going to say was first 15 minutes. I mentioned before, I didn't know how I felt. I wasn't sure, but it was unique. It was something different. It was something that kind of at least got my attention, right? And then it just evolves into your everyday bullshit, shitty horror movie. And then you have Danielle Harris, who I, at the top of the show, mentioned how much I appreciate her now. But her as the killer, how the fuck is she going to throw a dead body through a window when she was supposed to be downstairs? How did she get to the fucking asylum from the house party?
That was my point. I was writing down my notes. I was going to talk about that. I'll talk about it more. But yes, that was one of the things I wanted to talk about. I have a problem with. But keep going. Yeah.
No, there's just how did she sneak up on somebody? We covered that with her fucking crazy loud boots. There's just too much. And hey, dude, I like going along for the ride. I like the suspension of disbelief. But there's just too many goddamn plot holes. Old Gus just happens to be driving by. Come on, kids, let's go to the asylum. It fell apart. I felt like it started something good. They kind of had that vibe in the beginning of like Bloody Mary, or with the little twist of like Lizzie Borden, like you said. It was kind of interesting. It had a little hook to it, and then it all just kind of fell apart. So I'm going to say So Bad It's Scary. Great kills, fun kills. But when you have that gap from after the first 15 minutes to the last 15 minutes, it's like all the shit in between is just like unscripted dialogue party scenes where teens like just talk over each other the whole time.
Yeah.
So,
poop. So you said So Bad It's Scary. All right.
So Bad It's Scary.
So here's a few things I want to say about before I give my final verdict. One, yes, I agree with you. That's why I wrote my notes when we reveal the fact that it reveals that Danielle Harris is the killer, it makes me like, how the fuck did she throw that body through a window? And again, it doesn't make sense because she was supposed to be downstairs.
Yes.
So granted, okay, maybe there was somehow in the dark she could come back upstairs and do this, but she wouldn't be strong to throw a whole body through a goddamn window. And even if she would have been seen, because they were standing right in front of that window. You're telling me nobody's looking out and would have seen her outside the window throw a body in? Like, come on. And it's just so unbelievable that she didn't even have the strength to do it. And then, so I had to know something about Baby Dig Up and Gus. I can't remember what I was going to say, but you're right. It's talking about how the whole point of Gus was like feeling bad about digging the baby up, or if he would have gone back and dug the baby up and found there was no baby in the first place, like a lot of this could have been, I don't know, like there's a plot hole there. I forget what I was going to say, but it's there. Another thing, like I love Danielle Harris and I always will, but some of these movies she's done, I mean, I love seeing her, so I'm never going to say stop, but I don't know. I just wish I kind of wish she wasn't the killer in this one. What I think I would like to have seen instead was maybe she's not the killer. Maybe she has that bad. I almost wish the killer they would have just stuck with like Mary, like the ghost of Mary, like is doing it. That would have been fine. You could have pulled off the plot of the ghost throws the body in, like supernatural. You could just wrote off as supernatural shit and be like, fine, whatever. And then like I would like to have like, had Daniel Harris's character Alyssa like not know because she's adopted. Maybe not know Mary was her mom, and like she has this bad period in the bed. Like, oh god, this hurts so bad, but she doesn't know why. And then she gets to the hospital and they find the records and they realize, oh, she was adopted out. Like, oh my god, that was me. Like I'm her daughter. Oh my. And then she could be like the hero. Like she could have confronted Mary. Like she could have been the final girl. Like and confronts the dead angry spirit of her mom, and like she's the one who like puts Mary to rest or sets up for, she could have done, like, I think that would have been better and more believable than having tiny Daniel Harris going around killing people with a pickaxe that's almost as big as she is and clunky heel boots. I would have liked that better.
Yeah.
On a plus side, like I said, the kills are good. The gore is over the top, the almost too over the top. At points I wanted this was supposed to be like a dark comedy. Like the movie I think would have been better as a dark comedy because if they're going this weird explanation that periods made these women go crazy and kill people, then you know what? Go over the top of it and turn it into like an over the top comedy with this and like really like play up the period thing. Like if you're gonna do it, commit to it and like do it in like a over the top way or something. Make it silly in a way that is. I don't know, because otherwise I think it's just a really weird premise and almost kind of like a thin ice kind of thing to walk on that. Like that's kind of iffy if that's the explain. That's why these women are killing. It's
let's just say it's stupid.
Stupid, low hanging fruit, borderline offensive maybe to women. Like I can't speak on that, but I don't know. Maybe if Sarah, first lady of horror hears this, Sarah Samples, she can give us her opinions on the matter, or I know longtime listener Katie O'Brien, if you're listening, I don't know, maybe that's weird to call you guys out. I don't know, but it's like I'm not a woman, so how do the females feel about this being the premise for why somebody would go on a killing spree?
It's also stupid. It's juvenile. You know, it's like a 14-year-old boy's like, oh, you got your period, went crazy.
Yeah, it's just weird. Like. Now, I don't know the real urban legend of Mary Hatchet. Is that what the real legend is? Like Mary Hatchet, the urban legend, did she go crazy on a period? I doubt it too, but I don't know. So, with that said, as good as the kills are, and as much as I love Daniel Harris, I'm still going to say so bad it's scary. Because like kind of like you said, also, it is kind of like a tale of two movies. Like the opening is great. Like, I was into it. I'm like, even despite the period thing, which we didn't really find out, till after the credits, but I'm like, okay, this is great. This is intense. This is gory. It's bloody. This is cool. It's dark. And then it becomes a whole movie. And then like you get like 45 minutes in the middle of this movie where it's just that stupid party scene of this meaningless, dumb characters that nobody cares about. None of them are like particularly funny or charming or likable. It's like who cares? And they're just there. And so it's not till like the last really 10, 15 minutes of the movie where everything else happens. So if you do by some chance want to watch it, just watch the beginning, the first 15 minutes, and then fast forward to the last 15 minutes, and that's all you need. You don't need anything in between. Nothing matters in that section. So you're
wasting your time, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to say so bad it's scary as well.
Marshall, I got to say, I really like that idea you had about baking, having it be supernatural, have Mary, be the actual antagonist of the film. Have the showdown with Daniel Harris. I think that's a great idea.
I mean, even Gus the whole time saying, Mary just wants her baby back. She's hunting her baby back. And there she is. There's the baby. Melissa's right there. And it's like, oh, they come. She gets her back. They meet. They come together. And then Melissa can either figure a way to exorcise Mary or put her to rest or something, or who knows, or like, maybe set up the sequel. She puts her to rest, but maybe. Once she interacts with Mary, maybe Mary then possesses Alyssa at the very end. And you see that like the very end of the credits, like Alyssa's eyes turn red or she picks up, maybe, like the whole, like, she picks up where mom left off. I don't know, but I just think that, but in a better movie and would have made Daniel's character more believable and saying like this 98-pound killer going around trying to kill people like twice her size with a pickaxe she can barely carry. So,
and it's not like they didn't have that idea or have at least a little bit of that notion, because at the very end they tease the supernatural like re-manifestation of Mary killing, old man Logan.
Yeah.
So it's not like that idea wasn't there. It's not like it wasn't a possibility. It's just shitty writing.
Yeah, and they never did. It wasn't like they never inclined or hinted at that Mary and Alyssa were working in cahoots. They're working together, because never see like them interact or like have like Alyssa realize like, you know, Mary killed one person and Alyssa killed this other person. They were working together. They didn't even do that either. It was just Alyssa doing it all, but then Mary became an afterthought, except for Gus, who's seen images of her, and then Mary comes in at the very end and kills old man Logan and his girlfriend Lainey. So like, yeah, I really think there's a missed opportunity there to make it Alyssa the hero at the end of this instead. And I think that's better for Danielle Harris. As much as I love Danielle Harris, I don't necessarily like her as the killer, because she's
right.
I guess people would want to do it because that whole like curve of like, oh, look, this small tiny person who's so unassuming and innocent, she was really the killer, dun dun dun. But it doesn't work in my eyes, because to me, Danielle Harris is always going to should be like that final girl, should be the good girl, or if she's not going to be the main character like heroine. If she's older now, she could be like maybe like the town sheriff, like in a small town sheriff who's kind of like helping them track, that or like the Dr. Loomis type character of a movie or something like that in the future,
Sure.
But not the.
She already played that sheriff role before.
Yeah, you're right. There was a movie she did, but like something other than just. I don't know. I don't know. That's just my opinion.
No, I totally agree. I'm totally with you. I like that idea. It is a shame that they missed it. Yeah, and this is something else I have, is these super periods that cause her to go on a murderous rampage. Is this the first time it happened, or does it just happen every fucking month?
This is a great point. Like, if this is a reoccurring thing, which, again, when I read that, the education moment, like, this would be an ongoing thing. Like, it would happen, like, all the time. So she'd be used to it. Like, she'd be taking medications. If she knew her time of the month was coming up and she's going to be dealing with this, she shouldn't have been at that party anyway. She'd be like, no, I got some serious shit that's about to happen to me. I need to stay home with, like, one of those hot water bottles on my belly or something like that. And, like, and my Midol, and, like, just a blanket over me and put my Snuggie on or something like that. Like, I don't know.
It's like the menstrual version of the Wolfman.
Yeah, it really is. Like, once the full moon, when the period comes around, she transforms. Like, you would know that shit's coming. You would like, I don't think if you knew this that bad, like, yeah, I'm gonna go on a party, wear this mini skirt and be all cute. And like, you'd be like, fuck it, I'm staying at home underneath my covers with my Ben and Jerry's. I'm gonna fucking binge watch, fucking Nurse Jackie or something like that, or Housewife, yeah, something like that. Like, yeah, it's not like, it makes zero sense. So, like, I would love to hear a female's view on this movie, if someone's actually seen it or watched it, or even if you just listen to the podcast and let us know, man. I don't know, but all right, so that does it for this episode. I do have next week's episode planned, movie planned out, but I'm not gonna say anything because it turns out every time I say something the week before, like, inevitably something happens between now and then, and it gets canceled or moved back. So I'm not going to say anything, but
you give me COVID, Marshall.
Yeah. So anyway, hopefully, if it all goes, I have the movie picked out. We'll be back next week. Next week's, if it honestly is a real fucking doozy. Like, this is like, this is going back to like Horrible Horror Roots type doozy of a movie. So I'm really looking forward to it. With that said, guys, thanks for listening. I'm glad to be back. Sorry we're gone for a little while. Hope you guys.
Well, hey man, you were sick with a disease that's plagued the country.
I know, but people are fickle. So those of you stuck around, I appreciate it. Love you guys. Love you, Moon Goons. With that said, you know what to do. Watch more horror movies, and remember to always keep it tight.